Good morning to my friends and family, and welcome to yet another episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's a little bit wet this morning. It's overcast, a lot cooler than what it's been over the past week or so, and it's starting to feel a little bit more like autumn. It's a little bit cooler in the morning, and it's much appreciated. I guess I can say it's much welcomed, because it has been a late end to the summer, where over the weekend the temperatures hit close to 40 in the western suburbs, and I happened to go to the beach on Saturday morning, or should I say Sunday morning, and at 7 o'clock in the morning the pool at Bronte was chock-a-block full of people from the time the sun started to rise out of the ocean, or what appears to be rising out of the ocean. What I'd like to do today is continue the tradition of Jim's 5am Club, where we go for a walk and talk, and I use the beauty of this wonderful city as a backdrop to my video, and we go through a book summary, and today's book summary is entitled Mindset by a female author named Carol Dweck. And Carol has written a book which talks about the various mindsets that people can adopt and use in order to form their worldviews, in order to build the necessary energy and momentum that they need to get through life, and the necessary stepping stones that one needs to cross in order to grow and develop, and to fully develop into the person they're meant to be, and to harness the potential that we all have as individuals, knowing that we all have a different fate, and not everything we do is going to be of success, but at least to give us an opportunity to have a crack and to do the best we possibly can with what we have. So Carol, in her book, kicks off with an observation which is quite profound and quite moving, something that I guess we can all mull over and think about. She says that talent isn't passed down in the genes. What is passed down is our mindsets. We can inherit our mindsets from our environment. We can inherit our mindsets from our parents, the people that we surround ourselves with. But it doesn't mean that if you are born, if you are gifted with wonderful sets of genes, physical, mental, emotional, and all of the other genes, or any of the other talents that occur in humanity, even if you were gifted as a perfect human, unless you have the right mindset, you're not going to achieve much, because it's the mindset which is more important than the potential, I guess the author is trying to say. And if you don't do things, if you don't push yourself, if you're not action oriented, then you're not going to be able to maximize those gifts that you have, because they'll stay latent during your lifetime. So talent isn't passed down through your genes, it's passed down in the mindset that you develop or that you inherit. So you can have either a growth mindset, according to this author, or a fixed mindset. And we need to understand that there are certain things that we can't control. But there are things such as our skills and our abilities that are in our control. If you work them, if you hone them, if you have a plan of attack, if you have an incremental growth mindset, then you can build on the inventory that you have. You can build on the library that you've got, and you can make the most of what you have. So Carol differentiates between mindsets, and as I've alluded to before, she mentions that there is a thing called a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. The fixed mindset is the type of mindset that some people have, and we've got lots of these people in our lives that surround us at work, and are people who are, I guess, content with their life, and they never try to improve. And those sorts of people, not saying that those sorts of people are a waste of space, but what the author here is suggesting is that those people have no chance to change. They'll stay as they are, happy as they are, and it's not necessarily bad to have a fixed mindset and not wanting to change, not wanting to grow, not wanting to expand who you are. But I guess the bottom line is that we've all been called to various callings, and in order to become the best you can possibly be, then you need to be able to grow, invest, and develop certain skills so that you can use these, you can farm these skills, you can sweat these skills that you build and that you have, in order to achieve better things, not only for yourself, but for other people around you. So whilst the author doesn't say that a fixed mindset is altogether bad, what she does do is encourage us to have a different mindset, to have a growth mindset, so that we can take what we already have, we can take the gifts and the potential that we have received in our genes from our parents and from our early environments, and leverage those things so that we can make a better use of the time that we have here on earth, so that we can become better people and also help others along the way. So the author here talks about a growth mindset where you consider possibilities, where you consider changing, growing, and making the most of the opportunities. And a growth mindset is basically a mindset where you lean just outside your comfort zone, where you keep on pushing yourself to grow, where you continue to accumulate experiences and lessons and patterns through your own experiences and through OPE, other people's experiences, and you load them in, you load them up into your library of tools, of skills, so that you can leverage those, so that you can go back to them, so that you can work them throughout your life. And I have worked in some very, very progressive organisations, and I've learned over time that if you're going to succeed and if you're going to become a leader in your field, then you basically need to have this growth mindset where you're continually pushing yourself, you're continually expanding, bending and stretching incrementally. I'm not talking about doing it in a step function, but on a daily basis, being uncomfortable and being comfortable with being uncomfortable so that you can maximize what you have and you can add to what you had yesterday so that you can become bigger, better and more productive tomorrow. Some people call it, being thrown in the deep end where you either sink or swim. I remember as a 25-year-old joining IBM, which was one of the most respected organisations in the world, an organisation that built leaders, that made people great, because it pushed people. It continued to push people, just like a good parent, a good teacher, a good coach continues to push their people in order to grow, to encourage them to grow and develop. Because the big lesson for all of us is that in order to add value, in order to be generous, in order to be able to help others, in order to replicate the skills that we've generated, we first need to be selfish to a point where we need to invest in ourselves. And that's why as little children we go to school, we go to university, we go through development where we learn, accumulate and build those skills, and then we get to a point where we can unleash ourselves onto the world and to express our calling or callings and do the good works that we need to do in order to make the world a better place. The author here talks about the fact that our environment has a big influence on how we behave and who we become, and we need to be careful with the environments that we operate in and who we are mentored to, because the author here says that if you work in an environment where there is too much monitoring, too much helping, too much assistance, too much spoon feeding, it actually ends up becoming worse for the person, because too much monitoring, people just try to look good but don't want to be part of a team or to be productive, so they'll just do things to tick the box to make the person monitoring them happy, rather than develop the to be self-motivated, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and to become good because they want to become better, not because somebody else wants them to become better. So what we're trying to say here, what the author's trying to say here, is that we need to be self-propelled. We need to have our finger on the pulse and to really want to do better, rather than just to do better to satisfy our parents, our partners, our work peers. It's important to have the right mindset and not to be triggered by other people, but to be triggered by your own needs, your own desires, your own view of yourself. So what the author here is suggesting is that the growth mindset allows people to make mistakes and improve with experience over time, because we know that the path to greatness, the path to learning, is a checkered path where we have successes and failures along the way. But those failures along the way are stepping stones to future successes. They teach us what doesn't work. They remind us that each person has their own fate. Just because you go fishing and you're on a wharf with 100 people doesn't mean that you're going to catch a fish, doesn't mean you're going to catch the biggest fish, doesn't mean you're going to catch the most fish, but you need to turn up day in, day out, and know that sooner or later your turn will come, and to adjust your the way you work, adjust your approach so that you can get the outcomes that you desire. And also know that not everybody is going to be successful, and there does come a point where you need to assess how you're tracking, look at all your results and the outcomes, and decide whether or not it is something that you still want to pursue, or to change tact, to change course, and to do something else with your life. Now, not everybody is designed to be a parent, not everybody is designed to be married, not everybody is designed to be a managing director. Each person needs to identify what their strengths are and what their desires are, and to match those with their goals, with their work ethic, and with their mindset, and just to continue along a particular path or to change direction altogether. So what I've learned over time is that there are certain mindsets that are more successful than others, and people who are team players are the ones who end up achieving the most. People who get work done through people rather than through their own personal exertion. For example, when I worked at IBM, one of the new leaders that came in was Lou Gerstner, who came from the Ford company, and he facilitated teamwork, and he facilitated learning from the past and learning from failures, knowing that these valuable lessons are powerful. Because at the end of the day, learning is simply the art of attaching the unknown to the known, attaching the unknown to the things that you already know. So the more you know, the more you're capable of knowing. The more you learn, the more you're capable of learning. The more mistakes you make, the more different mistakes you make, I should say, mean that you're getting closer to making a breakthrough and learning what does work as opposed to what doesn't work. But learning what doesn't work is also a valuable lesson. So we need to be strong, we need to be positive, and we need to embrace our future, live with positive expectancy, and to understand that we're going to have difficult situations. But what we shouldn't be trying to do is to avoid those difficult situations, because avoiding problems, avoiding challenges, avoiding pain is one of the characteristics of a fixed mindset. The people who have a growth mindset welcome and embrace problems, welcome and embrace challenges, and are the sort of people who look for lessons in each failure that they make. Michael Jordan, the basketballer, for example, missed 9,000 shots during his basketball career. He lost 300 games. On 26 occasions, he missed the winning goal. So if you look at his statistics, you'd think that he was a failure over time, because again and again he failed to deliver. But it's through that failure that made him successful, because it was a numbers game. He succeeded because he showed up again and again, and even though he failed along the way, he did also succeed along the way, and leveraged his success with the success of those around him. He leveraged his failures and his learnings with those around him, and he continued to go uninterrupted and became one of the greatest basketballers in the history of time. So the bottom line, according to this author, is that we're all born with a growth mindset. Babies want to learn everything and anything, and between the ages of 1 and 3, a mindset can already be determined. So as parents, grandparents, facilitators, we need to help young people build and enhance, maintain and develop a growth mindset where they continue to become life students, even up until the day they die. Thinking that learning ends when you end school is a fallacy. You need to continue to grow and develop. You need to welcome growth and opportunities to grow and develop. You need to embrace problems, because humans are teleological in nature. We love problems. We love open circuits that we want to close. Our reticular activating system scours the universe looking for solutions for all of the problems that we have, but we need to be mindful that the brain can only operate on certain numbers of problems at the same time, otherwise it gets overwhelmed. So we need to be careful that our conscious and subconscious don't have too many problems, have too many things on the to-do list, else you'd be overwhelmed, stressed, and potentially, depressed and anxious. So getting back to babies with a growth mindset, even babies help other babies that are crying, because they just see themselves as being people who are able to help and to try and solve issues. So parents and leaders and teachers have a big impact on a child's mindset. What you say to them, how you say it to them, when you say it to them is important. We need to understand that each problem has a solution. And as Marie Forleo says, everything but everything is figure-outable. So if you give people enough time, if you give children enough time and enough space, they will end up figuring out how to do things, because there's more than one way, there's more than one solution to get to the number 9, for example. You can add 4 and 5 together, you can add 6 and 3 together, you can add 8 and 1 together, you can take 2 away from 11 to get to number 9. So all people have the capability, have the capacity to learn and to figure it out, and as parents and facilitators we need to help them develop and to appreciate a growth mindset. And the bottom line here from the author, the encouraging call to action, is that anyone and everyone can develop a growth mindset, and your self-talk is the key. It's the questions you ask yourself, it's the what ifs that you ask yourself, it's the encouragement that you give yourself that will help you develop, maintain and grow your mindset. So we need to worry less, to think less and to do more, to kill procrastination and to not give up, and to learn to build on our pasts. No experience that we've received, nothing that we've done goes to waste if you have a growth mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, however, and you keep on remembering the past and bashing yourself up, then that's going to be your downfall. But we need to remember and understand that each piece of experience that we either develop or inherit is a stepping stone to the future, and we need to use it productively, creatively and positively, and live with positive experience, with positive expectation, so that we can continue to grow and develop and end up becoming the best possible version of who we're meant to be. Anyway, take care everybody, wishing you all the best. Another fantastic morning. The rain has stopped. It's still, not a breath of air, and as you can see, the water here is like a plate of oil, with the reflections, the lights, the colours, just absolutely magnificent. Sydney has come a long way, because I guess 30 or 40 years ago, Darling Harbour here was just a nothing. Whereas today, it is a wonderful place to come down, and there is a heap of development happening just across the bay there. On the other side, we've got Mirvac redeveloping the business centre there. It'll be housing, it'll be retail, you name it, and it's going to be spectacular. And also earmarked for redevelopment on this side is this building here by Multiplex. So it's all happening here. It's all happening in Sydney, and will continue to be happening here in Sydney, because it is one of the greatest cities in the world. Take care everybody, bye for now, and until we chat again, wishing you a wonderful, wonderful day.